Josh with Skid Pro. Today we're going to take a look at our HD3 brush cutter. You guys know Skid Pro well enough. We always start with the design, the build, the weight, the strength. This unit comes in at 1,260 pounds on the 72. We run 1/4 inch deck at a minimum, but you can see we're heavily gusseted throughout. From the QT plate all the way up to the push bar, gussets abound. Let's take a look at some of the detail. First, you can see up front, we've got a 1/2 inch bumper up on the portion of the deck that will take a lot of the trees and contact. Then we have 1/2 inch skid bumpers up front as well. We run 1/4 inch skid runners on the bottom sides. We have an extra heavy 2 7/8 inch push bar. We tie it in with 1/2 inch gussets down to the 6 inch C channel right on the deck. Then we run 1/4 inch vertical gussets all the way from the QT plate forward to the push bar. You can see from the engineering standpoint, we have it tied in nicely. So every stress area, every push area is heavily reinforced and gusseted. Along with the QT plate, we back that with 1/4 inch gussets as well. A heavy duty build is just the starting point for any good brush cutter. When it comes to long-term durability and performance, the drive system is the heart of the cutter, and that's what really is going to matter. Let's pop the hood and take a look. We use our famed X4 drivetrain on this new HD3. Like we talked about, this is the same exact drivetrain as our tried and true industrial brush cutters. We utilize direct drive technology. Why do we do this? Well, if you go back a decade or so and you look, every single high flow cutter in the industry was designed with direct drive. So we thought, if that's the best way to do the toughest, most extreme condition, high flow cutters, well, why isn't it the best way to do a standard flow cutter? So we got to the engineering table and we started looking at ways to make this happen. We did that with the industrial cutter. We've been doing that for almost a decade now with the direct drive system. You get maximum torque, you get far better reliability, and the durability is off the charts. So let's talk a little bit about this and why we utilize it over the old traditional gearbox design. First of all, we run a bigger motor. Yeah, there's more expense to it, but it's going to give you more torque, more reliability, and a longer life. Then we drop down into a very big drive shaft. If you have done gearbox cutters, you know gearbox shafts break. It's a weak point, it always has been. It's also why gearbox cutters don't run a big flywheel. They couldn't withstand the weight and the impact that it would have. So how do we get around this? By designing a 3 3/4 inch drive shaft, the biggest in the industry. So our motor splines right in the top of that drive shaft. From there, we have 2 6 inch submersible oil bearings that keep that drive shaft tried and true. Here you can see the outside of the bearings is this, what we call our bearing housing. It's a cast design, it's very heavy, extreme durability. Then at the bottom, we go down to a 13 inch round, 1 inch thick flange, and that's what the flywheel bolts into. As you can see on the top of this motor, we have an additional steel plate, giving almost an inch thickness at the critical component where the bearing housing bolts into the deck. It bolts into the deck with large 3/4 inch bolts Again, everything on this drive system is robust. In fact, this drive system is bigger and heavier than some companies' high flow cutters. Another big advantage of the direct drive system is it has a built-in pressure relief in the motor. If you hit something, your pressure spikes and oil will bypass the motor. Say goodbye to shear pins of the gearbox era. A fan favorite, unlike a lot of other cutters, our direct drive system can cut in both forward and reverse. One of the things that maintains extreme durability on this cutter is the submersible oil bearing housing. We run 80 weight gear oil, and we have a convenient way to check with a simple sight glass located behind the bearing housing that can be checked daily. As we transition below the deck, we go from that 13-inch flange down to a 3/4 inch thick, extra large, 262-pound flywheel equipped with 3 blades. That large flywheel and that extra blade compared to the traditional 2-blade cutter gives tremendous performance advantage, literally high flow like performance on standard flow machines. Part of it is the added cut capacity, and a ton of it has to do with just the inertia once you get that big flywheel going. The blades are a drop down blade. That allows you to get closer to the ground without getting your flywheel down into the ground, because that will slow you up and kind of bog you down. The blades on the HD3 are reversible and replaceable. They're two-sided because the cutter can run in both directions, and they're easily replaceable once they're worn. Additionally, that drop-down blade design gets the knives closer to the ground and keeping the flywheel up off the ground. That helps for the safety of the cutter to hit less stumps and other objects and rocks, but it also aids the blades in pulling up and lifting a little bit better to get additional cutting and mulching in. While it doesn't seem like a big deal to add that single blade, we're talking about a 50% improvement in blade surface area and cutting performance. When coupled with the added inertia and weight of that flywheel and the reliability of the direct drive, we're talking significant improvement in cutting performance. Now that we've looked closely at the drive system, let's take a look at some of the other features that really add to the performance on this cutter. One of the features that's easily overlooked is the extra tall deck height, but it has huge performance improvement. By having the extra tall deck, nearly 9 inches, we're able to have more capacity underneath the deck. That prevents bogging down and too much material getting hung up underneath the deck. That means not only better mulching and better performance, but faster travel speeds as well. So when you look at all aspects of the direct drive, the taller deck, the bigger flywheel, more inertia, more cutting blades, that's what gives the HD3 best in class 4-inch cutting capacity. Let's take a minute to talk about some of our bonus features. We already touched on the direct drive, but one thing we didn't mention is our wire protection kit and our seal plate protector. So the wire protection kit is a series of bolts that overlap that just prevent wire from wrapping if encountered in the cutting environment. We also have an additional seal protector plate that even tightens up the tolerance, preventing any wire from getting in and taking out that lower bearing seal. We have 3 extra large aggressive steps to make getting in and out of the skid loader safe and easy. We also have an extra large heavy duty motor cover to protect the critical drive components of the machine. We also have a convenient hose retention bracket that allows you to adjust the length of your hoses. One of our customer favorite features is our unique blade retention kit. If you buy an extra set of blades when you get your cutter, we can bolt them right here into the deck so you always know where they're at and they're handy for quick replacement if you need. Speaking of changing out blades, we make that quick and efficient with the easy access blade panel. Just remove 2 bolts and change out your blade. Our open front design and our rear discharge make this cutter even more productive and efficient. We have our lift limiter chain for added safety to the operator, and then we top it all off with the industry-leading 2-year warranty, 100% longer than the competition. While the HD3 isn't quite to the same level as our X4 industrial brush cutter, it truly is its little brother. Tremendous durability, incredible performance, all in a package with a reduced weight to fit smaller machines and in a budget-friendly package. For more information on this class-leading cutter, give the guys a call at 877-378-4642 or visit us online, www.skidpro.com.